Strong remarks from the White House after yet another assassination attempt targeting U.S. President Donald Trump unfolded. Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt has blamed rising political rhetoric for fueling violence in the country. Addressing the media, Karoline Leavitt said that Americans must recommit to resolving differences peacefully and unite around shared national values. She warned that what she called lies and smears against the president are pushing individuals towards acts of violence.
Night after night after night. As President Trump said on Saturday night at this podium, we as Americans must recommit ourselves to resolving our differences peacefully and uniting around the shared values that make our country great. The deranged lies and smears against the president, his family, his supporters have led crazy people to believe crazy things, and they are inspired to commit violence because of those words. It has to stop. And one more point. Saturday night served as yet another reminder of how important it is to fund the Department of Homeland Security. It is shameful that the United States Congress has kept this vital agency defunded for 73 days, the longest shutdown of a federal agency in U.S. history. The Secret Service is a vital component of DHS. It has been directly impacted by this reckless political gamesmanship. Everyone in this room who was there on Saturday night witnessed the heroes of Secret Service and federal law enforcement jump into action in the face of grave danger and uncertainty. Agents put their own lives in harm's way to protect the president, the First Lady, the Vice President, and members of the cabinet.
Leavitt claimed that no recent U.S. leader has faced as much violence as Donald Trump. Leavitt alleged that sustained criticism from political opponents and sections of the media has contributed to a climate of hostility. She said that repeated attacks on president's images, including comparisons made by critics, have helped legitimize violence, and described the current situation as a dark moment for the country.
Not bullets. Nobody in recent years has faced more bullets and more violence than President Trump. This political violence stems from a systemic demonization of him and his supporters by commentators, yes, by elected members of the Democrat Party, and even some in the media. This hateful and constant and violent rhetoric directed at President Trump day after day after day for 11 years has helped to legitimize this violence and bring us to this dark moment. Those who constantly falsely label and slander the president as a fascist, as a threat to democracy, and compare him to Hitler to score political points are fueling this kind of violence. The left-wing cult of hatred against the president and all of those who support him and work for him has gotten multiple people hurt and killed, and it almost did so again this weekend.
And referring to the latest incident, Leavitt said that the president remained calm even as an armed individual attempted to take his life. She called him fearless and praised his commitment to serving the American people despite threats.
As you know, I was seated next to President Trump and the First Lady when the shots were fired before Secret Service swiftly moved us to safety backstage. The president's calm in the face of chaos, while yet another individual was trying to take his life, was really remarkable to witness, and it's something I will never forget. President Trump is fearless because he loves this country, and he is willing to put his own life on the line to deliver on the promises that he made to the American public who elected him here into the highest office in the land. And while we are blessed to have a fearless president, we should not live in a country where such constant fear of political violence permeates our society every single day. We can and we should have fierce disagreement in this country. As you all know, we disagree often, myself in this role and all of you in the news media. But those disagreements must remain peaceful. Debating, peaceful protesting, and voting are how we need to settle disagreements, not bullets. Nobody in recent years has faced more bullets and more violence than President Trump. This political violence stems from a systemic demonization of him and his supporters.
Leavitt also thanked law enforcement agencies, including the United States Secret Service, for swiftly responding and preventing the attack. She revealed that one Secret Service agent was shot in the chest but survived due to a bulletproof vest.
The President would especially like to express his gratitude to the men and women of the United States Secret Service who acted with the utmost professionalism, courage, and sense of duty. This includes the heroic agent who took a bullet to the chest. Thankfully, he was saved by his bulletproof vest. Minutes after returning here to the White House to the Oval Office, despite fighting Secret Service to try to stay and keep the dinner going on Saturday, ahead of addressing you here in the briefing room, President Trump was intent on speaking to this brave agent to ensure he was okay. And the agent assured the president that he was.
And now, White House Correspondents' dinner shooting suspect Cole Thomas Allen has been charged with attempting to assassinate the president. Allen, a 31-year-old from California, was also charged with weapons offenses at the Washington Hill as well. Have a look at this report.
The suspected gunman at the White House Correspondents' Dinner has been charged with attempting to assassinate President Donald Trump. 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen made his first appearance in Washington federal court on Monday. He also faces firearms charges and will remain in detention while the case moves forward. U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Janine Pirro.
There will be additional charges as this investigation continues to unfold. But make no mistake, this was an attempted assassination of the President of the United States, with the defendant making clear what his intent was. And that intent was to bring down as many of the high-ranking cabinet officials as he could.
Allen, a California resident, had left a manifesto with family members referring to himself as the friendly federal assassin and discussing plans to target senior Trump administration officials. He has not yet responded to the allegations. Video footage posted online showed the suspect sprinting through a hallway outside the ballroom of the Washington Hilton Hotel. According to the affidavit, Allen ran while holding a long gun. A Secret Service officer fired at Allen, who fell to the ground but was not shot, according to the affidavit, which also said the Secret Service officer was shot in the chest while wearing a ballistic vest, but it did not specify by whom. The shooting sent attendees scrambling under tables and prompting law enforcement to whisk senior officials out of the room.
This is the third major assassination attempt against President Trump in 2 years.
White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt told reporters on Monday that officials held discussions regarding the line of succession prior to the dinner.
Those conversations ahead of the Waka dinner did take place, but there were several members of the cabinet in the line of succession who did not attend for various personal reasons. So designating one survivor was not necessary, as we had several members who were not there already.
Alongside Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, House Speaker Mike Johnson, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, all of whom are in the line of succession in that order, were present at the dinner. Allen had booked a room at the Washington Hilton, where the dinner took place, and traveled from California to Washington by train last week. Officials say Allen, who was tackled and arrested inside the hotel, was armed with a handgun, a shotgun, and multiple knives.